Hello, and thank you for joining me for another Writer's Room episode of One More Short Story with me, Chris Fulwell. The Writer's Room episodes not only contain these fantastic stories, but also interviews with the authors themselves. We've got two terrific guests this week and one absolute blinder of an interview in the newsletter by Nick Smith, who is a prolific writing battle contestant. He's won it. He's been runner-up 3 different times. He was the original most valuable writer back in 2024. If you haven't done so already, I recommend getting hold of that newsletter, having a look and finding his interview. So many tips for aspiring writers. If you'd like to support the show further, please do check out our Patreon. It contains 3 different tiers of subscription. The patron, straightforward supporter of the show, thank you very much. The insider, for those of you who want a bit more, who want to know what's going on behind the scenes, who want the chance to influence the show, who want to be considered for the story selection raffle, and you'll be able to nominate stories for possible narration and publication using the brand new story suggestion box. Ooh, that's exciting. So we have the patron, we have the insider, and we have the founder subscription. Now the founder, this is for those that want everything. You really will get the chance to shape the show in ways that haven't been possible before. Limited memberships available. Head on over to Patreon to have a look if that tickles your fancy. Right, so 3 stories today, and 2 of those come with interviews that you can hear. One of them comes with an interview that you can read. We are joined in this episode by Laura Cody. I should say Dr. Laura Cody. Laura, I think you might be the first doctor we've ever had on the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. I'm so glad you could join us. We've got lots to talk about. Laura is a very accomplished writer. She's a novelist as well as entering competitions such as Writing Battle and submitting her work elsewhere. Laura, we're here today, first of all, to talk about the story we're about to hear, which is Fair and Square. Now, that was from the Spring Battle. Was it 2025? Was it 2024?
This was spring 2025. It was the 500, I believe.
You're correct, yeah. And it was apocalyptic game show, a great genre. When you landed on that, were you happy, or are you someone that likes to sort of shop around a bit for your competition prompts?
I wasn't that happy. Not my usual kind of genre, but I think I stuck with it because I was afraid of, I can't remember what else was in that particular competition, but there was something else that made me even more afraid.
You are not
So I
the first
stuck
person. Yeah, absolutely. You are not the first person to say, I'm just going to stick with it because I don't want one of the other ones. All right.
Happens a lot in writing battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it does. But then I think you had Obstacle Course and Survivor. I mean, that's a competition
So
writer's joy.
you're exactly right. So there was no way I could roll out once I had that. The stars aligned and fate was telling me, stick here.
Mm.
Do something with these because you'll never get this opportunity again.
That's how it goes with competitions, right? It is a sort of crystallized pocket of opportunity, and then boom, off we go. You said it's not naturally your thing. Is it the sort of game show element of it, or the apocalypse, or is it more that where your mind ended up taking you that wasn't necessarily your favorite thing to write about?
Yeah, something like an apocalyptic game show is just, I think it's the game show element. I took a stab at a post-apocalyptic novel a number of years ago. So it's not that so much I'm uncomfortable with. I think I was worried if I could make it fun enough, if fun is the right word, interesting enough to incorporate that game show element.
And I think the listeners will agree very, very soon once they've heard it. You absolutely did. I love how casually you drop in, I took a stab at a novel, like just cracked out a novel like it was an easy thing to do. It's amazing. Your work rate is quite something. I was sneakily looking on your website earlier, and just the amount you've got to your name already is very impressive.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
that.
Most of those are, little things that I wrote. They're not, big, huge publications or anything like that. They're all
they all
pretty
add up. They all
minor.
add up.
Thank you. But thank you.
Right, I think I'm doing the thing I always do, where I catch myself almost spoiling the story because I want to talk about the ins and outs of it. I'm not going to, because your story deserves much more than that. All right, let's go. So this is Regan Westergard has kindly narrated this for us. As ever, she's done a really good job. I know. Looking forward to this one. So this is Fair and Square by Laura Cody, narrated by Regan Westergard.
5 minutes to showtime. The makeshift arena is full. A crude obstacle course covers the ground, complete with nets, ladders, climbing walls, and mud pits. Not American Gladiator, but it's not exactly 1990 anymore. The obstacle course is just the appetizer before the main course anyway. Once cleared, the 2 frontrunners will fight it out in the center ring. Winner takes all. I might throw up. The MC walks onto the dirt field with a bullhorn, and the audience chatter dies down. He nods to a stagehand. A moment later, 4 contestants walk onto the field. "Good afternoon and welcome to the show." He sounds smooth, cheery as a circus ringmaster. I've never hated anyone as much as I hate him. The contestants are men, shirtless and glistening in the hot noon sun. They are well built with tight, ropey muscles. Solid and strong, but not big and brawny. No one has the luxury of protein shakes or 10,000-calorie meals anymore. They stand side by side, looking fierce. From my vantage point, I can make out details. One has ice blue eyes, another a broken nose. One has a long, grisly beard. Another has lips so thin they're invisible. The MC makes introductions. The crowd whoops and jeers. Then a signal, and the games begin. It's been 2 years since the Pathogen, with its cruel predilection for women, came and decimated the population, since survivors joined together to find out a way forward, repurposing buildings and tools, planting crops, forming a community of farmers, engineers, administrators, and officers. A community of men. Lots and lots of men. Contestant 1 and 3 are neck and neck, 4 on their tails. Contestant 2 has fallen behind. I watch them balancing sandbags on outstretched arms, sloshing through waist-deep pits of mud. My eyes burn from the testosterone haze enveloping the arena, and from my own powerless tears. 1 and 3 have made it into the ring. Inside the ring, the 2 men circle one another. Contestant 3 slams Contestant 1's face with a vicious right hook. Blood droplets arc through the air. "Oof, that had to hurt." The crowd thunders. Number 1 rebounds, launching a front kick that takes out Contestant 3's knee. Once down, Contestant 1 is on him like a starving dog on a raw steak. I watch merciless fists pummel Contestant 3. Sickening flesh-on-flesh thuds reverberate throughout the arena. I know the match is over. I know the winner will take all. It's better this way. For the women, they say. With so few surviving, there's constant danger. It's better to belong to one man, to be earned fair and square. Contestant 1 wins. Contestant 1 thrusts his arm to the sky in triumph. His eyes blaze. Blood oozes from his mouth, runs down his chin. With a savage victory howl, he turns to claim his prize. I recoil, but the MC yanks on my wrist shackles. "Good childbearing hips on this one," he says. "No, please, no." But it's all fair and square.
There we go. Bleak. Bleak is a word I would use. Is that a fair description?
I think so. Yes.
But what a powerful story! It's 500 words, and you've already set up your main characters' living nightmare of watching these awful, violent moments happening, and then realizing at the end what's going to happen to her. It's quite something.
Yeah. When I wrote it, because I did have those very compatible prompts, again, the survivor and the obstacle course, I was like, how do I make this? I needed I tried to, come up with some little twist or something. And so I think if you're reading it without listening, my hope was that maybe you don't realize what is happening until the end, that the perspective is actually not from a contestant or even a viewer. It's from the prize, which, that was what I tried to I hoped the end had a little of a ooh value to it.
Oh, it's I'd say more than a little ooh value at the end there. More than a little, yeah. It's a horrifying idea, isn't it? The idea that if society just breaks down a little bit, just 5, 10, 15%, then something awful like this could happen.
I think so, and I do think that if the population of women were decimated for some horrible reason, I think things could be very bad.
I don't really want to think about it, but I guess that's
I
the
don't
point.
really.
No, it's good. No, that's the whole point, right? You didn't write it to say, "Here's a hilarious idea. I hope it happens." You wrote it to say, "Here's a horrible idea, and it's quite uncomfortable. Let's maybe think about how we treat people, how we treat women, how
I
we
do
treat
want
each
to
other."
think, I would like to say that I don't think that's a given. I think there's plenty of decent people in the world who would try to make the world remain a decent place. But this was one bleak view of what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could write a post-apocalyptic story where everyone's fine and nothing really changes. I'm not
Right,
sure it
right.
would be.
Or
I'm
you
not sure it'd be quite
could
so
have written a
gripping.
story where exactly, or where men, maybe because there are so few women left, they revere women, and women are held to a instead of a property kind of something to win, more of a place of reverence, and there are different ways you could have gone. So that was just one possibility,
It's okay. I'm
men
not
or bad,
asking you
and that's
to.
immediately what they would do.
It's okay. I'm not asking you to speak for the whole human race or for all of womankind, darling. It's
Okay.
okay. It's all right.
Thank
No. I think
God.
post-apocalyptic stuff is popular for all sorts of reasons, and it holds a mirror up to maybe some of humanity's worst potential. And I think you've examined that particular side of it brutally. And very, very well there. It did well for you, this story, didn't it? It did very well. Got through to the knockout stage, having smashed through its house. It got through to the final.
I think it was a 32.
I think you're right. I think it was. You're absolutely spot on. Of course you are. It is, yeah, the final 32, thrilling 32 as we call it over at Writing Battle, out of hundreds and hundreds of competitors. And it got a lot of love in debrief, didn't it? It got a lot of compelling comments and people who were. Oh, go on.
Yes,
Sorry, I
it got
interrupted you. Go
it
on.
got nice comments in debrief and nice comments in the feedback. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good writing experience, a good writing battle experience for me.
Good. Oh, I'm very pleased. Well, speaking of good writing experiences, you've got your fair share of those going on. So Laura's written a fantastic book. Well, more than one, but the one that's out now and it's called Cool Game. Is that right? Please do tell us about Cool Game.
Sure. Yeah, Call Game came out at the end of October. I co-wrote it with a writing partner, and it basically is about a hospital in northern Michigan right before the holiday weekend, Thanksgiving, big American holiday. Hospital gets snowed in, and there's a serial killer on the loose inside. So it sort of like has this locked room mystery kind of thing going on. The staff that's stranded in the hospital is trying to survive the night and trying to find out who the killer is. So it's sort of like this locked room mystery, thriller, mystery, crime thing. A lot of fun to write.
And I've got it on my desk right now. That is no exaggeration. It's here.
That makes me very happy.
I'm sorry I haven't read it yet. I wanted to read it before we spoke today, but they're just, you know what it's like, two small kids. I haven't quite had time. I will have time to read it. And the friends I've got who are reading it are absolutely loving it. If you're into thrillers, if you're into mysteries, if you like your serial killer books, do check out Cool Game. It's available on Amazon, I believe, and elsewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much available anywhere, like online where books are sold, Amazon, barnesandnobles.com. So
Awesome. Wherever good books are sold. There we go. This is
wherever.
Cool Game by Laura Cody. And is it Graham Elder, your co-writer?
Yes, that's my writing partner. Yes.
Yeah. Two doctors. Two docs writing, I believe.
That's the name of our website, Two Docs
There
Writing.
we go. Two docs writing. Yes. Ball Game was recently successfully nominated for an award, I believe.
We won what's called a Maxi Award. We won for the first place for the crime and mystery category. So that was exciting.
Congratulations. That's brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you. That was a nice surprise. So happy news.
Happy news indeed. You are someone who is a novelist who's working on another book, and you're also a competition writer. How do those two things for you sit alongside one another?
Yeah, we started writing novels about 10 years ago. I started with this sprawling post-apocalyptic 4-volume adventure following 4 young people in the aftermath of a cataclysmic CME kind of event. I think it's good. It's still a project that's dear to my heart, but it was too big a project, I think, for debut authors to sort of get off the ground because it was big. So while that was we were figuring out if we wanted to do anything with that, I started wanting to continue to write. I looked at online, I discovered Writing Battle, and that was really my first writing contest. And it was literally starting the next day, and I was online and I said, oh, this looks like fun. And I signed up for it. I've learned so much, like as somebody who's trying to write long form novels, writing short form can teach so much. It teaches about, I think, how to sharpen everything up, how to use better like word economy, how to get the point across. I feel like as somebody who's trying to do both, it's an incredibly valuable experience to do judged competitions and to get feedback from peers. So it's great. And I do feel like my writing has significantly improved. And I think, that impacts the novel. I think my novel writing has become better as a result of these competitions.
That's really heartening to hear, because I know that the Writing Battle community is made up of all sorts of writers. Some who just enjoy it, just as a fun game to do, fun little competition, stretch the creative muscles. Some who are short form writers, some who are long form writers, some who want to be long form writers but don't really know where to start. And to hear that the competitions, however long or short the writing is, I'm hoping people listening in that position will think, okay, well, here's an example of someone that's done it, that's written a book, more than one, and is using the competition to hone those skills. Oh, that's really encouraging.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they are very helpful. You learn a lot from entering competitions and writing short form. It really teaches you how to try to make every sentence count. And yeah.
Word economy, absolutely. Crucially important in a short piece of fiction for a competition. But then we've all read, without naming any names, we've all read books where you find yourself just sort of idly wandering through a few pages and then not remembering what's happened, and then I'm going to go back and look through that. But go on.
I'm sorry, Chris. I was going to say, but I think that's especially true because right now I'm writing in the thriller genre. So thrillers tend to be less, they give you less room to kind of loop around with flowery language. A thriller is to the point. So the words do have to count. Whereas maybe if you're writing something more literary, you can take your time about it a little bit more. So it's been
It's not always
the genre
about
that we're writing. I think it's really helpful.
And yeah, for thriller writers out there, take note of what Laura's saying. Yeah, and speaking of thriller writers, you were at an event recently, weren't you? Didn't you speak on the same stage as Harlan Coben?
Yes.
I don't want to name drop too heavily here. You did. No, you literally did.
I stood on a stage where Harlan Coben stood at some point during this conference. We weren't together.
Oh, well, but even so.
We went to the International Thriller Writers Conference, which was in New York City 2 weeks ago. And that was so much fun. Huge conference, like all the biggest names in thriller writing, including like Harlan Coben, Karin Slaughter, and Robert Dugani, and like David Baldacci, and I can just keep going on. And it was just, we were all like together at this conference. And of course, listening to these highly experienced and successful people talk about their writing journeys and their lives as writers. It was just so great, so eye-opening and so much fun. What a great community. We loved doing that. And I did get to do a little talk as a writer who has a debut novel out in the thriller category. I had to do a 1-minute presentation on the stage in front of everyone, like at this big breakfast, which was scary, but I lived through it, and it was a great experience. Really, like a highlight of the year for me. So.
I am simultaneously delighted for you and immensely envious of what you've done there. That's brilliant.
All of us. There was a large group of us, maybe 20 to 30 of us who had debut novels, and we each had our minute on the stage. So no, I wasn't singled out especially for that. Well, that's a lovely part of the program that they do each year. The debut novels, the new, I guess, initiates into the international thriller writers get to have their minute.
You're still part of that. And thoroughly deserved, and long may it continue. But you're still part of that international thriller writers group. You still got up there and did it. You've still done what many of us, including me, have not yet done, which is write and finish and publish a novel. and you're out there doing it. It's immensely encouraging to the rest of us,
Thank
the
you.
mere
You
mortals
will.
over here. We will.
You will.
We will.
I
Those of us
know.
who are doing it, we will.
No doubt at all. And it is it's a lot of fun, and it's a big learning curve, and it does feel nice when you've wanted to do something like this your whole life, and you're finally like, okay, it's out there.
Now is the time, and it's out there. Oh, amazing! Gosh, you're giving me fuel to go away this afternoon and do something useful like that.
Thank you.
Without spoiling Cool Game, I believe you're working on a sequel. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have completed the sequel. We sent the
Amazing.
preliminary into the publisher, and we're just working now on the back and forth, the sort of last minute revisions and any edits. But yeah, it's on the publisher's calendar for January of 2027. So
Okay. And can you tell us what it's called?
it is called Call Back.
Oh, I like it. Call Back. Oh, look at you. Even your title's efficient with the word count. Look at that. Cool Game, Call Back. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, make a note of that, everyone. We'll be sure to talk about that come January. Call Back by Laura Cody and Graham Elder. Oh,
Yes.
I'm inspired. My fingers are tingling. Oh, right. Laura, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us today. You've
Thank
given
you
us,
so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
No, me too. And as well as being easy to talk to, which of course you are, you've given us some great nuggets there of information and inspiration for someone that's actually done it. Not someone that's just thought about it or talked about it or seen others do it. You have done and are doing it yourself. And there's nothing more encouraging and inspiring than that. Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
We have the pleasure today of being joined by Maverick Jones. Maverick, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's great to be here.
Absolute pleasure. Yep, very glad you're here. Now, long-time listeners will recognise Maverick's voice because Maverick's done a fair few stories for us. But this time, you're here to talk about your own story, and richly deserved, I should say. Now, this was it the Fear Battle last year? Is that right?
It was the Fear Battle, yep.
Okay.
I believe my prompts were dystopia, what was it? A philanthropist, and then a knife.
Dystopia, philanthropist, and knife. That's quite the combination. I mean, you can see dystopia and knife going together quite nicely there, but philanthropist, I don't think I in a million years would have made the really engaging, interesting connections you've made in your story. Without giving the game away, can you think back to your process there and think how you ended up with this particular style of story?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I stayed in dystopia because I didn't want like thriller. I think that was the other one or something like that. I was more scared of another genre. And I don't think I think I only re-rolled a character, maybe, but I didn't re-roll much. But I had actually had like a similar idea to this story. Back in like 2023, I wanted to do like a little short film similar to this kind of concept. And it kind of just became like the perfect opportunity for me to write about it.
An idea that's been rattling around in the back of your mind, your sort of creative archives, if you like, things you've maybe thought of but not necessarily fleshed out. And then suddenly,
Oh yeah.
Writing Battle happens to throw you a bunch of prompts that you go, yep, that fits perfectly. Oh, great. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Well, and clearly the judges did too, because it did very well. I keep doing this. I always try and make sure the story comes on quite quickly when I'm talking with the writer, because otherwise I end up yammering away and talking over the story. We don't want that. So this is Boy's Guide to Philanthropy by Maverick Jones.
1. Time. Mama died 2,555 days ago. At first, Boy was scared. He'd curl up next to Mama, trying to warm her body back to life. Once her eyes rotted out of her skull, Boy faced the truth. He is alone. A community lived here once, according to the marks on the bunker walls. Boy started adding his own after Mama died. He wasn't sure why. Maybe because someone did. After a while, Boy develops a routine. Every morning, he eats Chef Boyardee and reads his favorite book, Batman, Last Night on Earth. Each read is different since many pages are missing. Sometimes he listens to the radio. It only plays static, but he thinks one day he'll hear something different. Before bed, Boy practices speaking. Though he sounds stiff, he wants to properly greet someone when they meet. Boy dedicates his time looking for someone. Using his map, he has explored the nearby X marks for any signs. But those bunkers are empty, save for skeletons and rotten corpses. He leaves behind little notes explaining where he is, just in case. Only one X remains. It is a long journey, but Boy is determined. He will find someone. One day. 2. Talent. Boy is good at spotting things. Whenever he ventures to the surface, he always collects something new. Today, he finds a silver knife protruding from a cracked skull. The wooden handle gives him splinters, but it's great at opening cans. It's also useful for carving tiny Batman sculptures, which Boy does between hikes. He leaves the carvings behind in case someone needs a toy. Boy must be careful, for creatures lurk nearby. Towering beasts with stretched leather skin, they attack anything that moves. Up here, they rule. Boy is unwilling to become a meal. Not yet. Luckily, hiding is another talent of his. He covers himself in ashen dirt, then curls behind a fallen tree and waits. Something else is here. Yellow eyes pierce the shadows. It has 4 legs, but it's smaller than Boy. The creature is sniffing by Yellow Eye's hiding place. The animal starts to shake. Instinctively, Boy uses his last talent. He whistles. Like lightning, the creature leaps onto Boy's tree, inching closer. He remains still, keeping his breathing even. Not today. In the distance, a tree branch snaps. The creature sprints off, eager to find the source's sound. Boy sighs. He glances around for Yellow Eyes, but it's gone. He leaves behind half a can for it. 3. Treasure. Boy has treasures to aid him on his journey. First, a brass compass inscribed, "For my son." He isn't sure who son is, but he hopes they don't mind if he uses their compass. If he finds them, he promises to give it back. Next, a notebook. It was Mama's first. She filled it with everything she learned. Boy pried it from her arms after she died. The last page is titled Mama's Rules, and there are 3. 1. Stay near the bunker. 2. Keep everything for yourself. 3. Survive. Boy supposes he doesn't obey Rule 1 very well, but he thinks it's alright since he is looking for someone. Rule 2 is tricky. Of course, he keeps useful items, like the knife. However, some things are worthless. Today, for example, he comes across a book titled A Beginner's Guide to Philanthropy. Batman is one of those, so Boy eagerly begins reading it. After a few passages, he tosses it. Boring. Goes on and on about how to give away something called money, which philanthropists have in abundance. Still, it seems they help someone. As Boy continues his journey, he wonders how he can be a philanthropist. 4. Ties. There it is. After months of hiking, Boy arrives at new bunker. Hope fills his chest as he pictures someone inside, waiting for him. He goes to knock. only to see the door is slightly ajar. His heart races. Mama taught him to always keep Bunker's door closed. Please, someone be there. But nobody was inside. Boy checks every corner, tears streaming down his face. He falls to his knees and shakes as loneliness wraps its cold hands around him. Curling into himself, he pulls out the knife and places the tip near his eye. Maybe he'll be reunited with Mama this way. Maybe he won't be alone. Hissing reaches Boy's ears. He gasps. He never closed the door. Nowhere to hide, he whips his head around and sees yellow eyes staring at him through the darkness. They look familiar. A small striped cat steps into the light. Something wriggles in its mouth. It creeps forward, sits inches away, then drops the mask from its jaw. Boy is confused. He stares at the furry animal, who stares back expectantly. Boy realizes it is trying to feed him. An unfamiliar noise escapes from Boy. He isn't sure what the sound is, but it fills him with joy. Though he cannot eat what the tiny beast brought him, he is happy. He reaches his hand out. It bows his head, and Boy pets him. Excitement floods his veins as he finally says the words he's been practicing for years. Hello, friend. 5. Testimony. Boy isn't sure how many days have passed in New Bunker, but he quite likes not keeping track. With friend by his side, life is easier. New Bunker has more Batman books and a much larger map. Boy realizes the world is much bigger than he thought, and friend shows him interesting places to explore. Today, they prepare for another journey south, where more bunkers lie. Boy still believes one day he will find someone out there, but now understands he can make friends differently. He realizes Mama's rules aren't the only way to survive. Before they depart, Boy decides to leave one last note for someone, should they come by while he's gone. Boy's Guide to Philanthropy. 1. Explore the world. 2. Share with friend. 3. Live.
There we go. That was Boy's Guide to Philanthropy, written and narrated by Maverick Jones. It's a brilliant story. It's a brilliant story. I really enjoyed it from the moment I saw it and the moment I heard it. It came. No. It's true. No, we don't just get people on for the sake of it. We get them on when they've got stuff to say and their stories are good and it's all working well. Doesn't mean they have to get to the finals or anything, but if it works, it works, right? I think you got to the final 8, wasn't it? The Elite 8 with that one.
Yep, top 8. That's my furthest yet for writing battle. It was only the second time I've gotten to the final showdown, but I had whenever it comes to writing battle, it's always hit or miss.
Yeah.
With how well a story has a lot. Luck, I think, has a lot to do with it. Like, I had a good feeling about it, I suppose, but I couldn't watch the results that day because I'm like, I'm too scared.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You were? Yeah, gosh, you really were invested. Oh, it's great. And that's one of the great things about writing competitions, isn't it? When you do get so into what you've done, and I think you hit on something absolutely spot on there, where you said that there is a fair element of luck, and I think you have to be good and lucky to really succeed in the showdown stages, because it's a process where your story lands in front of so many people. This was a professionally judged one, right? So we had a very, very wide range of judges, of writers, editors, other creative types.
Yeah, yeah, it was professionally judged, and even with like peer too, like for me, I don't necessarily like put too much of a difference per se between peer and pro because it kind of boils down to like the judge's preference at the end of the day and what they value from a story. So like if somebody really values like, you know, character driven stories, like they might just have a preference for that, you know, especially if it comes down to like, you know, like the luck part where it is like, oh, these two stories are so good. I mean, how many times have we encountered that here just like for like the peer battles we're like, how do I choose?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So like
and people who are listening who have taken part in the peer judging battles will know exactly what Maverick's talking about. Sometimes you do just land on two excellent stories. There isn't really anything between them, and you kind of have to go with your gut or which one just suits your preference, or might have a teeny tiny element of one aspect of writing that you prefer, and there's no legislating for that. You've got to write for you. I'm not going to make you go through every single line of the story and dissect it and pull it to pieces and ruin the enjoyment of it forever. But
oh
I
no.
do wonder, yeah, I do wonder if that kind of stylized writing, that sort of stylized way that Boy thinks and therefore writes in, is that something that you've explored before, or was this the first time when you've put pen to paper that it's really really fleshed out like that?
This I would say was kind of the first time I ever tried something like that because the hardest part for me was like the philanthropist part because I really wanted to like I was really worried about how I would do that in a dystopian setting. So this was the first time I ever tried something like that. And I got it from because I had looked up a philanthropist, what it is different than just like somebody like giving to charity, I suppose. And that's where like the philanthropy guide or something like that, but they had those like different points where you have to like for being a philanthropist you have to be like dedicated to something in some
Mm.
kind of charitable way. So I just kind of used like those points that they had, the different ones, which was it was time, talent, I'm forgetting my own story.
It's okay. No, I know exactly what you mean. The way you've broken it up with time and talent and everything else, and I think it
Yeah.
was very clever how you referred to philanthropists in this kind of in this dystopian landscape where okay they had this thing called money and they gave lots of it out, and it's sort of a pulling back from contemporary culture of actually well okay money is this entirely made up thing we've got, but at the same time diving into the idea of enjoying Batman and Batman being an excellent philanthropist within the fictional world there. So that was I thought that was a nice little contrast there. The on the one hand having no clue what philanthropy was, and then on the other hand really enjoying the Batman comics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why Batman was in there. I'm like, oh yeah, he like he fits that category.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, I did want to do that as well to be like, how would you be a philanthropist, or how would you be a giving soul, a giving person, like in a dystopian time when you know things are scarce, and for Boy, people are scarce. He's all on his own. So how does he, you know, how does that manifest for him? So I did read that was a something I did want to convey too, where Boy is just a he is a philanthropist. He's a giving person. He's a giving kid. You know, he wants to have a connection with someone. He wants to help. He just wants someone there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah. And he gets that in the end. He gets that with friend the
oh
cat.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Friend, that was my
Uh,
best bit. Inspired by Marvel.
for the benefit of our listeners, who are we talking about there? Sorry, because we can't see.
Marvel is my cat. He's
Uh,
my little
it,
special boy.
and is he what he responsible for the jingling we occasionally hear?
Oh yes,
That's
absolutely.
okay.
He's laying he's laying
That
right here next to me.
good.
My little special companion.
There we go.
Uh and
A
he's also
mascot.
yes. But yeah, I had and that was kind of like another point I had wanted to make with just like friend in general and having that connection is that because Boy in his head was picturing like a human, obviously picturing someone being there,
Hmm.
but like connection, it doesn't always have to like look the way that people think it needs to look. you can make a strong connection with, you know, anything if if you feel that though, like that it just makes your life just like that much like easier, you know, kind of gives you that like you know, because at the end, boy, he doesn't keep track of days, you know, he isn't so worried about finding someone because he has his friend here, you know. If he finds
Absolutely.
someone,
Yeah.
of course, like excellent, but like if not, he's content with what he has. That was something I also wanted to really like touch upon with Boy.
And I think you did. I think you did a really good job of conveying that side of the human spirit and way boys maybe practiced and imagined something and then adapt that rehearsed social setup to work with the cat and friend, and then he changes his little tenets at the end that he's taken from his mum. I was just thinking with them because there are not full on horror, because I know you can write really full on horror very very well, but there are a couple of more gruesome parts within this story, like the description of the eye rotting in the skull at the beginning. I'm not going to ask a silly question saying, is that something you enjoy writing? Because it clearly is. What is, because we'll talk about your poetry in a minute, but what is it about that sort of writing that attracts you? What is it that makes you gravitate towards that?
Yeah, I would say it kind of grounds like this kind of, at least for me, it can be like a very like sombering grounding point as
Hmm.
well. I've tried to not to like, you know, go too much like into like gory descriptions per se,
Sure.
because Boy is such like a light character, you know. He has this like, you know, bright energy about him, you know, and but he's in this like dystopian place in this hellscape basically, and you know it's good for like those moments to like as a reminder of like the reality of what Boy is living in. Like
Hmm.
yeah, like he probably like once his mother died, like, you know, if I picture it, she probably was like laying there like rotting for a while because he wouldn't know what to do. He's such a
No.
young kid. And even with like because I know there's like the skull later on in the story too, like he's very well versed with seeing dead bodies now
Hmm.
and like just the world and the creatures, and because it's his life now, the reality of the world we live in, like there's a lot of light and good in the world and there's a lot of like bad shit that you have to deal with. And I think that kind of like body horror almost like really encapsulates it for me.
Yeah, and I think I just want to quickly touch on something you said there. That I certainly wouldn't describe your stories as gratuitous. Do you know what I mean? It's not gratuitously gory. It's not sort of shock horror or just violence for violence sake. Any of that sort of thing. That's not what you're about. The word rotting, which you mentioned a few times there, I think neatly ties in with your poetry anthology, does it not? Do tell us about
Does
that, please.
I have a poetry book out now. It's called Please Pardon My Rotten Corpse. So
Lovely.
that's definitely where like the body horror comes into
Yeah,
play
sure.
again. But yeah, so I had been working on that book for, I would say, close to a year of like actually like, you know, being dedicated to it. I started writing poetry though, I'd say 3 years ago, and some of the poems like from 3 years ago made it into this poetry book. So it's a weird kind of like collection of like all the poems I've written so far and the themes that they all kind of share.
And we can get this book. Please pardon my rotten corpse. And this is available on Amazon and other places, I believe.
Yes, I believe Amazon probably your best bet for getting it. It's also on the publication for Tim Saunders. That's the guy who published it. He has his own website.
Tim Saunders. Okay, good. And this will all go in the newsletter. So please pardon my rotten corpse. The body horror poetry from Maverick Jones. And I think, as Maverick said earlier on in the conversation, a lot of people find comfort and a sort of poetic solace in this idea of it being examined, something like death or decay and the things that we're maybe told we shouldn't be talking about, but things that are coming for us all. And there's a sort of a poetic enjoyment in exploring them like that. So I hope lots of people who are listening to this get hold of your poetry book. I must go to Amazon. I must order it now.
Oh, please. I want everyone to read it.
They will. They will.
Not
Don't you worry.
myself.
They and that comes as part of being a creator, doesn't it? A writer, a writer or a poet, and it's marvelous being able to bash out these stories for competitions or on your own. And there comes a threshold, doesn't there, where you just think, do you know what? It would be really good if literally everyone could hear or read what I've done here.
For me, it's more of like, I think the story's pretty cool, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I think you would like it. And it
Yeah.
just so happens that I made
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's not. That's just a nice way of putting it. It just so happens that I've written it. It's not something you've knocked up in 20 minutes on a lunch break because you think people will buy it and you'll never think about it again. This is something you actually really care about and you've poured a lot of time and yourself into. I don't think we should be afraid to talk about the commercial side of things. You know, if you want to get your name out there, that's what you need to do, isn't it? And get cracking on that side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the part of things I don't like, but
Yeah, I know.
if I want people to like actually read it,
Yeah,
I gotta do it, sadly.
yeah.
But I was thinking like somebody had pre-framed it for me like this, unless it's like, because I always have a hard time like putting a price on things I do, because I'm like, I just want people to read it and like it. But somebody was like, it's not necessarily a price about you, but a price on like your hard work, like, and that is like the thing with writing and stuff like that, or any creative endeavor. It is hard work. It's work
Yeah,
that you're happy to do, but you do kind of, I even think for writing battle too, like with like the time crunch too, like some people like they like sacrifice time to do it. They give like a piece of themselves into the story. Like it takes a lot of work to really like put something like truly like masterful together, and you can find a lot of that stuff on writing battle, which is pretty cool.
it is, and the community there as well. You know, you've got people who become friendly and join little groups outside of writing battle, and they help lift each other up and promote each other. Whoever reframed that for you has done a good job for you there, where it is about the work you've put into it, and it's not that you want people to buy it just to be nice because you've worked hard on it, but you've worked hard on it for a purpose. You've worked hard on it to make something you think is valuable, you think is worthwhile. What next? What next is coming up for you? Is there more poetry on the way? Is it competition time? Is it just taking a break while we market and let that sit for a while?
I don't think there's ever a point where I'm not working on
Okay.
something writing. I don't think I could. I've got like, what was it that you said, like that creative archive? Like
Yeah.
I have a whole boatload of stuff, but like at the moment, yes, I do want to. I am actually working on another poetry book. The title for working title right now will be Tar Pit.
Tar
So
pit.
I'm kind of excited for that.
Okay.
And then I'm also hoping to do a short story like anthology myself. That I've been toying around a little bit. I took a little break just because life.
Oh yeah, life does life things. Yeah.
Yep, that's always fun. But those are kind of the two like book projects that I'm working on at the moment, while also trying to like promote like the current book I have out now. As far as comps goes, right now the main one I mostly do is writing battle. I'm a bit more selective now with like the comps I do, just because 20-30 bucks is that's a meal right there.
Yeah.
At least for me in America.
Yeah.
But so I'm a bit more selective now, especially since like writing battle is so luck based that even if you write like a great story, it could tank. I've gotten 0 before as for points, so like it's not like out of the realm of possibility. But just kind of like for comps, like here and there, whatever word count suits my fancy, if it
Sure.
does.
And it keeps the creative sort of energy flowing, doesn't it? It keeps things bouncing around in your
Yeah,
brain. And I
absolutely.
do want to underline with massive highlighters something you said there, and it's come up in previous conversations I've had with people joining or forming a writing group, whether it's through Writing Battle or another competition, another online community you can find or create. It is worth it a million times over. It is so much more rewarding than you think it's going to be. Even if
Oh
you go
my
into
god.
it with your arms open wide and a big smile on your face, you get so much out of it. You help each other out. You improve each other as writers, and you're there for each other when it's all going a bit miserably, and you're there to celebrate with each other when it's all going really well. And it's something that I would recommend to anyone.
Me too. I would not have a book out if it weren't for like my writing group. Honestly, like, I would still just be like sitting in front of my computer, like, oh, I can just the words will appear eventually.
Yeah.
So like, and like just having that like encouragement, and also just like a group of people who like want to see you succeed with your writing as well. Like, not it's always good to have people be like, oh wow, like your work is good, but it's also good to have like just a group that's like, this is really good. If you change this or if you add this, like I think it would make it like even better, or like this wasn't working for me. Just having that like honest feedback, like that transparency and the trust that like the other person isn't like trying to be an ass, like they're just like trying
And
to
it's
help.
yeah, and that side of things is not a competition. It's what's the expression? A rising tide lifts all boats. That sort of thing, where it's
Yeah.
mutually supportive. Ah, there we go. I think we've just fixed all the world's problems, Maverick, by talking about writing groups. I think the rest of the
Yeah.
world can take the rest of the day off. We've sorted it. But no, it's
Me.
everybody join a writing group and everything will be fine. No, but I'm being daft, but it's true. It does make an enormous difference, and I'm really glad that the people in the group that you're in, that I'm in, have been able to help you with that. And it's definitely inspiring a few of us who've not got any publications out there to get cracking and do something about that. Right. Thank you so much for joining us, Maverick. I really appreciate it. It's been great having you on the show, and we look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great time being here, and I'm sure you'll hear from me soon.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. Take care, Maverick. We now move on to one of my favourite parts of any of these Writer's Room episodes, the story selection raffle. What this means is one of the subscribers, the insider subscribers or the founder subscribers, is picked at random, and they get to choose a writing battle story to be featured on a later episode of the show. Doesn't have to be their own story, could be someone else's. As long as that author gives permission, we're good to go. The last winner we had was Pathogen, and Matt has chosen someone else's story. He got really excited reading this on the Writing Battle debrief system, and he's chosen Summer Shadows by Alexandria Simmons, which is coming up very, very soon. Thank you, Matt, and looking forward to hearing Alexandria's work. All right, this week, here we go. Subscriber list, random number generator. Here we go. Ah, okay. This time, the story selection raffle winner is Kendra Wrecked. Congratulations, Kendra. We will be in touch. I look forward to hearing which story you're going to go for. And if you'd like to be considered for the story selection raffle, all you have to do is subscribe at the insider or founder levels. Have a look on our Patreon for more details. Our last story today is Soul Searching by Nick Smith. As I mentioned at the start of the show, Nick is a frequent writing battle competitor with a very high success rate and a really high quality output of stories. So I'm really pleased we've got Nick's story on today. This was from a spring microfiction battle back in 2024. It was in the witchcraft genre, which was a heck of a genre, and I'll be honest, I kind of wish I landed on that genre now. But there's no point regretting the past. We can't change it. Let's get back to Nick. Nick had witchcraft, swamp, and outlaw as his prompts, and he's been kind enough to allow me to read it, for which I am grateful. So here we go. This is Soul Searching by Nick Smith. I find the shack deep in the swamp, vines constricting its rounded frame like fingers about a neck, the timber bulging, warped, veined with cracks. It's isolated here, peaceful. No one to mock the machine that dresses like a person. Even now, A coat drapes my metallic frame. Beneath I'm levers and gears and spindly fingers, wire intestines and a motherboard heart. I dress like a human, but I'm aware of what I am, of what I'm not. It's why I'm here. The shack's long abandoned. Shelves line every wall except where wood's rotted away and books have fallen into papered puddles. I savour the smell, or how I interpret the mist of chemicals the pages release: toluene, benzaldehyde, vanillin. It's almost sweet, I'm informed, so I must like sweet scents. The smell of books slowly deteriorating reminds me that things not quite alive can still die. I find the idea romantic. Where there's death, there was life. The witch, a collector of souls, isn't here. She left long ago, but I find her notes scrawled inside a book. I take candles from my knapsack, arranging them in a pentagram outside the shack, and wait. The distant swamp water gurgles like someone's drowning. When night finally crawls over the sky like a million spiders blanketing a ceiling, I light the candles and read the incantation. The ground trembles. The area between candles drips open as if it's also made of wax. She crawls up from the pit, clawing the earth with nails like talons. Her head's lolled on her shoulder, her skin's bubbled and burned. She sits beside the abyss. Then, on seeing me, she says, "You're not human, you have no soul." My existence summed up in 7 words. My years of torment in labs, my escape, running from sewer to sewer, dumpster to dumpster, risking nights in libraries, dressed in rotting coats and hats that I wore as lifelessly as a scarecrow, searching for why I exist. No, I say, but I want one. Too bad. You have souls. Sell me one. I only collect. Just one. She laughs, her head slumping from shoulder to chest. You waste my time. Please. She pauses. Why do you need a soul? Because without one, I'm pointless. I'm nothing. Some people with a soul might say the same. I can't tell if she's mocking me. I'll give you anything. You sound like every human that's ever summoned me. She crawls to the pit's edge. Wait! But she lets herself fall. The earth stitches shut. I can almost hear my heart beating. Not that I have one. It is the strangest feeling. Like every human. And yet I'm not. I sit there until sunrise, first contemplating books dying, then the intricacies of humans, of their many parts weaved together to make them whole, to make them mortal. I consider my inner workings, my intricacies. Am I even alive enough to die? I wonder then, with a feeling heavier than any sadness, do humans feel this lost too? I don't know that many writers, competition or otherwise, would see a prompt of witchcraft, writing a story about witches or a witch adjacent story and immediately think of doing something sci-fi. But Nick did. He nailed it. He pulled it off. He did a very, very good job. He was the runner-up for this competition. Very, very strong field of stories. We had a terrific winner, and in this, a terrific runner-up. That's one of Nick's 3 times runner-up medals. He has, I hasten to say again, won the whole competition before. And if you're interested in seeing more of Nick's thought process, his writing process, and his advice to up-and-coming writers, do check out the newsletter. Thank you for joining me on a Writer's Room episode of One More Short Story. Particular thanks to our subscribers. Wherever you are in the world, I appreciate you a great deal. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.